Dr. Drum, patient log 88, regarding patients 47A and 47B, Mr. and Mrs. Macbeth. Both were introduced to the mental institution this evening and seem to be settling in with little to no complications. Mr. Macbeth appears to be somewhat shaken by his sudden introduction here at the ward, but I'm sure this will wear off once therapy starts. The reason for the couple's sudden transfer to the institution remain undisclosed for the time being, though I'm optimistic the information will be revealed to the doctors and I soon. Dr. Drum, patient log 89, regarding patients 47A and 47B, Mr. and Mrs. Macbeth. After a week in the institution, the couple has been acting strangely. Mrs. Macbeth's mental stability is rapidly declining, although she is still somewhat stable. For now. Mr. Macbeth, however, is under constant restraints, and is often found awake staring at the empty bed in his room, cursing at some unknown being who apparently resides there. After some questioning in therapy, he told us that he's being tormented by an old friend. He's being regularly injected with 5 mils of risperidone to calm him, but the adverse effects of the medicine are settling in, and I'm not sure how much longer we can suppress the more severe effects of this psychosis. We here at the institution fear for the couple, and they've not even been here a month. So until next time, let's hope for the best. Dr. Drum, patient log 90, regarding patients 47A and 47B, Mr. and Mrs. Macbeth. The apparition that supposedly resides in the bed beside Mr. Macbeth's own has been torturing the man for weeks now. He has started clawing at the walls and screaming in agony, begging for mercy and apologising to nothing but an empty bed. Therapy is getting nowhere. We tried to have him draw a sketch of the ghost, but his hands are too bloodied up from his constant scratching of the cement walls. His fingertips have been worn back, and his fingernails, they've torn off. It was a sad sight. But regardless, precautions have been made, and he is now under constant restraints. He is to be injected with 5 mils of diazepam whenever he enters one of his episodes, but I'm unsure what we're going to do once he builds up a resistance to the medication for it to be ineffective. We can't use anything stronger because of his age and frail mental state. But I digress. On to Mrs. Macbeth. It appears we may need to keep her away from her husband, as her usual calm and almost regal demeanour has transitioned to that of constant anxiety and panic. We've had to have security monitor her whenever she enters a bathroom, as she has a constant fear of blood staining her hands, and will spend hours cleaning her hands and face. I'm beginning to have suspicions as to why these couples were actually institutionalized in the first place. I won't tell any of the doctors, though. The papers still haven't arrived. But, I'm beginning to fear for my own future. Dr. Drum, patient log 91, regarding patients 47A and 47B, Mr. and Mrs. Macbeth. Mr. Macbeth is under sedation more often than not. His psyche worsens as days pass. He requires larger and larger doses of diazepam as time passes, from the initial dose of 2 milliliters up to yesterday's dose of 17 milliliters. His body has been responding extremely poorly to the medication, and I fear a dose larger than 20 milliliters would cause a complete shutdown of bodily functions, effectively killing him. Lady Macbeth is deteriorating at an astonishing rate, screaming and crying in episodic bursts while asleep. In a report during therapy, she claimed to be plagued by horrifying nightmares, and we have been forced to have security restrain her several times. Her issues regarding hand sanity have worsened considerably. She has once gone so far as to attempt to bleach her hands white, effectively burning the skin from them. But thankfully, we found her and stopped her before she could proceed. Dr. Drum, patient log 92, regarding patients 47A and 47B. Mr. and Mrs. Macbeth. Mrs. Macbeth was found today in a pool of her own blood, with a self-made knife protruding from her abdomen. I should have seen this coming. And now I've gotten reports that Mr. Macbeth has escaped restraints and is now loose in the mental ward. Security measures have been increased, and the cameras are everywhere, and yet I still don't feel at ease. But regardless, Mrs. Macbeth's body will be transported away soon, and I will send reports away.